Syrian rebels have been accused of using poison gas against government military positions in Aleppo on Sunday, which left at least 28 soldiers injured. This is all according to local media reports. The General Command of Syria's armed forces said the attack was in response to its advance on the city. And in Aleppo right now is RT's Murad Gazdiev with these details.
The number we're hearing, having called the hospitals in Aleppo, our good friends there, is 44 soldiers injured. We don't know exactly how many of them have died, how many are merely sick. Apparently the rebels shelled an area near the airport of Aleppo. The area is called Karem et Tarab. It's close to the airport, it's depopulated. There's only military, the Syrian military there. And this wouldn't be the first such attack recently. The rebels have been using chlorine gas. They've used it at least 3 times, according to reports, over the past 2 weeks. The previous time was on the 3rd of November. Before that, on the 30th of October, when 40 people, including many civilians, were injured in an attack on New Aleppo during the second rebel offensive on the city during the past month. Russian hazmat teams, that's nuclear, chemical and biological protection troops, have been to an area of Aleppo where they've discovered a mine containing chlorine gas. When they tried to remove the mine, a white gas, a white substance came out. They field tested it, brought it to a laboratory, and they found that it's a chlorine gas mine. There have been, again, as I say, numerous such attacks, as well as regular shelling against Aleppo that's happening daily, and there are casualties, civilian, military, all over Aleppo. The International Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons has been called. Their experts have been invited to Aleppo to examine this evidence, to examine these mines, as well as samples of the soil and fragments of other mines, exploded ones, to give their professional opinion.
Syrian rebel fighters have intensified fighting in Aleppo now over the past few weeks after Russia announced a halt in its airstrikes almost a month ago. And we spoke to Professor of Political Sociology from Cairo, Saeed Sadek. He believes Syrian rebel factions are now truly worried about how things might change with the new U.S. administration coming to power.
As you know, the Syrian rebels today are in a political dire strait. Some of the main suppliers, like the Gulf states, are now very busy with the Yemeni war. Turkey has its own agenda regarding the Kurds. Now the election of President Trump signals a change in American policy regarding the Syrian conflict. So they feel that they are being abandoned, and they have to escalate so that at least they can gain some ground or test the new administration, which is not still, in the White House before the 20th of January. So they are in a desperate attempt to show that we can do something, that we can challenge the regime, that we are not totally had been abandoned. So they are trying to do as much as possible. So expect a lot of things before the 20th of January 2017.
On Sunday, 4 civilians were killed, including a child and 2 women, in a rebel attack on a residential area of Aleppo. The rebels are shelling government-held parts of the city on a daily basis, frequently targeting civilians. And the devastating humanitarian situation in Aleppo has left scores of locals displaced.
The shells started raining down on us. The windows of the school were shattered. My children were injured. We ran away and now we're here.
My children often fall asleep hungry. Where do we get food? The locals say they don't have enough for themselves. When we ask humanitarian agencies, they say they will only deliver food to the designated shelters, which we fled because they were shelled.
They haven't eaten for 2 days. Yesterday my daughter was throwing up. The day before my son. It's very cold. The children are freezing. I don't have any more clothes for them. I have nothing apart from this blanket.